2022 is shaping up to be one of the most interesting years in gaming of all time, if you ask me, because everyone already knows that The Last of Us 1 remake was the perfect idea for Sony and Naughty Dog to go forward with, especially after the glowing and positive reception of The Last of Us Part 2 and the great little Abby character that they added into the game, who was just absolutely immaculate and beautiful. A shining beacon of strong female and awesome lead characters in video games with no dumb SJW stuff thrown in whatsoever, or a half-baked mess of a story and bare bones combat with some of the most outstanding and beautiful graphics I've ever seen on any game console, because everyone already knows that The Last of Us Part 2 was a complete freaking masterpiece. It was so much better than the first one. It's possibly one of the greatest games of all time, without a doubt. So, of course, in order to make the first game look somehow even better in comparison, all they had to do to take the next step forward was simply just remake it, because everybody already knows that the story of Ellie and Joel and their adventure across the whole entire world with clickers and everything and coming against multiple psychotic survivors trying to kill them was absolutely the most brilliant story ever told. But the only way to make it better is to simply just remake it without actually changing anything about the story at all, because a story that was already set in stone and told once can only be told once. But not the Sony and Naughty Dog, You gotta remake a game with some slight little graphical updates, no changes to the gameplay and combat really at all, and no changes to the story at all, and sell it for not 60, not 50, not 70, or even $75. No, you gotta sell this for $80. This is the perfect price tag for a remake that doesn't feel like a fucking remake at all, people. This right here will be the greatest thing mankind could ever produce. It'll be the best thing since pants with pockets and sliced bread. I guarantee it. So, The Last of Us 1, as you already know, was actually a really terrible game and was in desperate need of a remake, despite the fact that it came out over a decade ago by now. It came out in 2013, and the remake, if I'm not mistaken, will be coming out next year. So by the time that it comes out, it will in fact be a decade old, really. But The Last of Us 1 needed improvements, or should I just say it just needed a small little graphical mod update, which would justify an $80 price tag for it, because this was an absolutely brilliant idea by Sony and Naughty Dog. Everyone already knows that Sony just pushes out these third-person action shooter movie games that people just eat up without no cause at all to wondering if they're actually playing a game or playing a movie. Now, that's not to say that every Sony game is like that, because we already know every Sony game isn't like this. But for you to sit here and remake The Last of Us 1, well, don't you think, Sony, that there was maybe other games that needed to be touched upon, such as Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Honor Among Thieves, Bloodborne? But no, instead Sony and Naughty Dog went with the game that had a story already told that could only be told once. It was already pretty much perfect by a Sony game standpoint, or even just by a gaming standpoint, and by the fact that it focused mostly on its narrative. The story was already pretty much fucking perfect, but yet they wanted to find some excuse to sit here and remake this darn game, and yet have it not even look like a remake, and in some cases even look worse than the original PS3 game. And the fact that it was already remastered for the PS4, which even looks better than this darn remake right here. And yet they want to sit here and try to justify it, saying that it'll be worth it. Yet there's not a single bit of actual crazy amount of changes besides some quality of life stuff for people that are like handicapped and everything, which is nice and all. But that does not justify your game being 80, 70, or even 60 goddamn dollars. But when this game drops, people will buy it anyway, I'm pretty sure, eat it up and say that it's the greatest thing ever, because the same thing happened with The Last of Us Part 2. The critics sat there and ate it up, despite the fact that the actual people and the fans of Naughty Dog and The Last of Us did not enjoy the game at all. And the same thing will happen with this Last of Us Part 1 remake. Yes, they're calling it Part 1 now, making it official that that terrible sequel is actually legit. With that being said, this is Mitsune Nika. I'm out.
I've been counting down the days to get out. I've been looking for a way from this town. And you're too far away to help me